What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Summer Career Mode. This is episode number 6. So we start today's off on the back of our draw against Spal. We're kind of stumbling to promotion right now. Our form has definitely taken a bit of a dip since the Cutrone injury. Understandable though, of course. Pat, of course, was top scorer of the Serie B. Going for a potential 40-goal season, which, as I mentioned before, only 3 players on my channel I've ever been able to do it with 3 players. So obviously Ivan Toney, the shocker, the first one, Samuel Bell. So good they named him twice. And, me in my player career mode. So, since Cutrone's injury, we have kind of taken, I wouldn't say a nosedive in terms of form, but definitely a bit of a slower pace, if you will, as we edge towards the title and promotion to the Serie A. So, heading into today's episode, we had 2 more scouting updates and an academy update as well. I'm very excited about Colombo, of course, but Gabriele Russo, who we just picked up here, 64 rated 16-year-old attacking midfielder, does look pretty decent, and as you'll see, he does show great potential as well. So, obviously, I mentioned before, even though we are in the Serie B right now, the players we pick up from our academy, they are good enough to be in the first team, yes, but at the moment, it's kind of hard to get offensive players into my team because, yes, fair enough going forward, now the Cutrone's gone down. Mancuso, most of the time I'm partnering alongside Koleosho's come in, obviously we signed him from Espanyol, but it's kind of hard to get in those offensive pieces because, at the moment, we haven't got a problem scoring goals. It's defense where we've got the problem. So Gabriele does look pretty decent there, but how much game time I'll get him, I'm not too sure because D'Acunha has been really, really solid for me. Anyway, first game of today's episode, Brescia coming to Como for the episode opener. As we know, just a few games to go in the Serie B, 7 games remaining, and really we know that the promotion is basically in the bag. The question is, are we going to go with the title or not? Well, starting the game off, looking to return to winning ways here, Leonardo Mancuso, 20th goal in 30 games for me this season, and I don't know whether I'll bring him back. Now into his 30s, it does feel as though a bit of a waste of money to bring him back, considering his advancing years. But he's been that good for me. It would be a shame to only have him as a one-and-done type of player. I guess it depends on the budget we'll have for next season. But even so, Brescia would find their leveller and equalise with 12 minutes to go, aiming to get back in front and back to winning ways here. Mancuso nods on to D'Acunha, and this is such a lovely goal here as well. Really nicely works. We get the ball into the middle, and there is Luca, Warwick, Koleosho. I don't know how I can get this guy more game time. Without Cutrone's injury, he wouldn't be starting these games, but he pops up with a game winner here, and he's been so good for me this year, mainly off the bench, but even when starting games as well. So that would basically do it. 6 games to go. We're now 18 points clear of Parma in 3rd and Cremonese in 4th as well. So all we needed was 1 point from our final 6 games to automatically go up to the Serie A. And as you'll see in the following game against Benevento, I'm not going to say I played for the 0-0, but let's just say I wasn't disappointed when the full-time whistle ran out. I mean, it was just such a bad game, but a point does guarantee it. Now 16 points clear with 5 games to go, and mathematically we are promoted to the Serie A. So it is done. We are up to the top tier of Italian football. 8 points clear of Sampdoria with 5 games to go. So the question is now, can we win the title after just 1 win in our last 4 games? Starting to stutter a little bit, but we know the main thing is that we are up to the Serie A. I know I've mentioned this before. I know not everyone agrees with me, and that is totally fine, but I don't think I'll ever have my opinion changed on this. If you go up with a title, great, well done. I'll clap for you. Fantastic, well done, but ultimately, it's the same reward as someone that goes up as a runner-up. It's the same reward. You're both going up automatically. You've both got the grand prize. The silverware's nice, don't get me wrong, but it's not a huge deal. One of the things that always kind of made me kind of sort of sum up my feelings on this is that, as a Millwall fan, I keep saying I need to do a video on this. Can I call myself a Millwall fan nowadays? I don't know. But anyway, as someone that's supported Millwall for the majority of my life, I've watched us win playoffs, right? I watched us win playoff finals. I watched us lose playoff finals as well. Heartbreakingly, that Scunthorpe United game will live long in my memory. But, I've watched us win and lose playoff finals. And, you know, when a team gets promoted via the playoffs, they get a trophy, right? So, you know, the playoff finals are at Wembley for the Football League playoffs, and when a team gets promoted, they via the playoffs they get a trophy. But a runner-up doesn't get a trophy. A team that wins the title does. A team that goes up runners-up doesn't, and a team that goes up via the playoffs does. And it's like, what? How does that make sense? So, like, let's say hypothetically, a team in the playoffs, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth, just to make it easier, goes up. A team might have gone up via the playoffs despite finishing in sixth place in the division, and they've got silverware, and yet a team that finished in second doesn't. How does that make sense? It's one of the reasons why I've just never quite understood that, you know? I understand why a trophy's given, because if you go to a playoff final and you've made it through the playoffs and you've won the playoffs, it'd be a bit weird just to kind of like walk off the pitch. Cheers, lads. You know, you got nothing to show for it, I suppose, nothing physical to show for it. But I guess that's kind of always been my feeling on it. Like, if you're gonna give like a trophy for a team that may have finished like fifth or sixth to get promoted, but not a team that finished maybe second only on goal difference to the champions, it just feels a bit weird, you know? But I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But the point is, to me, I wouldn't have minded how we finished runners-up or gone up with the title. After back-to-back wins here, including away against Palermo, coming from behind, Acuna finding our leveler, and over 11 minutes to go, Ibrahim Bamba. What a player he's been for me this year, man. Seriously, I signed him from Vittorio Guimaraes, spent the big bucks on him. I say spent the big bucks for Como's stature. What a player he's been. It's his third goal this season. It's a game winner. And in the end, it proves to be the goal that clinches the title. Yep, after back-to-back wins over Ternana and also Palermo away from home as well. You'll see the league table here, and after Sampdoria's really, really poor run, we've now gone 13 clear with 3 games to go. So that would do it. We are promoted and go up with the title as well. So the championship in the bag as we head to the Serie A. So 3 games remaining, but nothing to play for now. The championship is in the bag. So delighted with that. It is such a strange one, you know, and I really should stop talking about this because I know not everyone agrees with me, but it is just such a strange one, isn't it? You know, like you can finish just below the team that went up with the title, that topped it, maybe even on goal difference, maybe even by a handful of goals, and you get nothing physical to show for it, and yet a team that finished, you know, maybe even like 10, 20 points below you that made it through the playoffs, they do get something physical. They do get a trophy. They do get a winner's medal. Like if I was a player as part of a runner-up, you know, and I didn't get a winner's medal or a promotion winner's medal, if you will, whereas someone that, you know, someone from a team that finished in 6th did, despite the fact they were like 20 points below us, I'd be like, this ain't right. Like, are you serious? Come on now. But anyway, following game, I would play this one, the final game I'd play in the season, because it was the penultimate home game of the campaign, as we would take on Cremonese, going for automatic promotion themselves now. Of course, they can't catch us, but they can catch Sampdoria, who have really bottled it towards the end of the season. So, taking them on here, a bit of a rival team for Como. We fell behind, and a bit of housery there as the forward turns the camera on the home fans. Yeah, bit of housery there as the visitors take the lead. We'd find our leveller for a very lucky goal, all things considered there, an own goal, try to cut the ball across, deflection, and it finds the back of the net. But I didn't play very well in this game. I'll be honest here, it's been an amazing unbeaten run. We've gone like 20 games unbeaten in the Serie B, but now the job was done. I'll be totally honest here, I wasn't too fussed. I wanted to make sure we got with a title after leading the way for so long, but I didn't really mind if we'd end that unbeaten run in the final few games. And in the end, that's what happened. Cremonese chasing automatic promotion alongside us do end up victorious, but in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter too much. The only reason I played this game is because I wanted the trophy celebrations there, and of course we get it here in Como despite the loss to our rivals Cremonese. Did put a bit of a damp on it, not gonna lie, but even so we do get the trophy. So during these celebrations I was thinking, right, okay, so for next season, like, how are we going to improve this team? Because this will be my final game that I'll play in the Serie B this season, and you know, this season the biggest problem for me was that we just couldn't defend. And I mentioned before, like for me, like free at the back is just not a system I like using in FIFA, and there's a very simple reason for that. Now, my play style primarily, not always, but primarily, is fast, counter-attacking wing play. So, obviously, if you're playing a free at the back system and you've got those wide midfielders, a lot of the time, with our play being focused down those flanks, our wide midfielders are going to be basically up the other end of the pitch for a large percentage of the time, which leaves me with a back three when I play a high line, high press system as well. Oftentimes there's space in behind, and of course with no fullbacks to cover either, that does leave me quite exploited. So I think for the new season, we're going to get a very, very small budget for the new year. Going up to the Serie A, yes, we've won the championship, but you'll see in just a moment's time here after I sim the final 2 games away against Cittadella, which we won 3-2, and then home to Venezia, which we lost by 3-2. You'll see the prize money we got. It was only like £1 million. Of course, we won't keep all of that. So for the new season, I think we're only probably going to get around 4, 5, maybe £6 million. But even so, despite going to the promised land, despite going to the Serie A, we're not going to have much money. And so with that being the case, well, as Gomes and Mancuso, who have been, 2 of my most consistent players all season long, my shot stopper and the assist title winner, say they want to come back permanently next season, I was thinking, in any other circumstance, of course I'd bring them back. Yes, Gomes is 29, I think, and Mancuso is 30, so they're not going to get any better than they are right now. But because they've both been brilliant, Gomes started every game between the sticks for me this year, and of course Mancuso was the top assist maker in the Serie B this year with 23 or 24, I think it was. You'll see in a moment's time anyway. Ordinarily, of course, I'd bring them back, but because we're going to have such a limited amount of money to work with next season, I don't know whether I should, because it seems as though we won't get much of an ROI, return on investment. So as we do go up with Cremonese, who finished in second place in the end, Sampdoria, what a bottle job from Sampdoria, only winning 1 of their final 6 games, I think it was, to go into the playoffs. So Cremonese are going up with us, a rival team, making it to the Serie A. And as for the playoffs as well, Palermo and Spezia made it through the quarters. Spezia made it through to the final, as did Pisa, and in the end it was one of the relegated sides, Spezia, that ended up going up to the Serie A. So yeah, for next season, in terms of improving this team, I think defensively we're going to have to tighten up, no doubt about it. I'm sure we'll get the goals, even though I doubt Mancuso will return. Just look at this, Gigi Buffon at 16 years old. 16 years old? No, 45 years old now. He's no spring chicken. 45 years old, 16 clean sheets, wins the Golden Glove. Have you got one more year in you, Gigi? I'm sure Parma will hope you do, as they'll aim to get back to the Serie A for the following year. Inter, by the way, won the Coppa Italia this year, and Fiorentina won the Serie A. I always say take the other league tables with a pinch of salt, because they always change when you reload the save. But it does appear as though Hellas Verona, Frosinone and Genoa are going out to the Serie B, as for those curious, Barcelona Champions League. But we look at this team here, I have to say, I feel as though for me, like going forward, even though Mancuso's not going to be here next year, I do think we'll have no problem getting the goals. Pat will come back for next season, and I'm sure he'll score the goals in the Serie A like he did in the Serie B. He was only stopped by injury. So I'm sure we'll get the goals next year. You're the top scorers in the Serie A by quite some distance this season. The problem for me is defence. How am I going to tighten up this defence? Because I look at our centre-halves and I think, right, they're young. They're really, really young. I don't think that Ionao is going to stay. The Cypriot, 27 years old. He was okay for me this year, but I prefer to get someone in a little bit more quality alongside Bamba and also Odenford as well. I do think I can do with like a really class centre-half as well. But also on those wide areas too. Alex Blanco, I've noticed, only has 1 year left in his deal after this year here, so I'll probably sell him in the summer and try and get a bit of money. We're only going to get around 4 or 5 million, I'd say, for our summer budget. I'm a little bit concerned about next year. How can I improve this team with virtually next to no money, knowing that we had a really, really poor defensive season, and knowing that those wide positions, LM, RM, so crucial. We've got a young 18-year-old on the right-hand side, and I need a replacement for Alex Blanco on the left, who wasn't good enough defensively anyway. I'm not gonna lie, next season, I think it's gonna be a tough one. We're going to Serie A, I'm excited, but we'll have very little money to work with and some big decisions to make as well. Looking forward to it though, it'll be a really good challenge in the summer window, trying to get good value for money deals, working on a shoestring budget, and then some. But that will end today's episode of the Summer Career, guys. Big fan watching season 1 and the season finale. If you enjoyed it, then please drop a like. Much love to you all, have a fantastic day, and I will see you for the next episode. The Summer Career Mode, or a brand new season begins in the Serie A very soon.